Hello everyone, and welcome back to the 7th video of the Intro to Vex CAD tutorial series. In this video, I'll be giving an intro to the Part Studio. At this point in time, you all should be familiar with the basic and advanced concepts of the Assembly Studio. Now in this video, I'll be covering the basics of the Part Studio, specifically how to navigate the studio, what sketches and extrudes are, and how to create them in the Part Studio. Finally, how do you use the parts you have created in an assembly? The parts of the Part Studio is very similar to that of the assembly. There are three main sections: the graphics area with the plane, the features list over here, which you can see the different parts and tools that you have used, and then the toolbar at the top. In Part Studios, you can make many very complex parts, but for the sake of this video, I'll be focusing on how to make simple 3D objects that could be made with polycarb. First, to create a part, you need to create a sketch. A sketch allows you to create a 2D geometry, which you can then use other tools to extrude and make 3D. To create a sketch, you click on the sketch tool and you choose a plane that you want your sketch to be on. For this one, I'll be choosing the top plane. And you click check. Now there'll be a sketch that's created on the top plane. Although it can't be seen, you can just simply go back and edit the sketch by double clicking on it or clicking edit. On the sketch, there are many tools that you can use. First is the line. With this tool, you can simply create a line. When you use a tool, you can click escape so that you're no longer using the tool. If you go to the drop-down list near the line, you can also use a midpoint line. This is simply where you create a line and it will extend on both sides evenly. The next tool is the rectangle tool. If you click over here, you'll have a corner rectangle. This means that you'll click one point, and then when you move your mouse, it will come out. But there are also different versions like the corner rectangle or the aligned rectangle, where you just choose a center point or you choose all 4 points. Moving on is the circle tool. Here, you can click on a point and a circle will come out. In the drop-down bit list, there's also a 3-point circle where you choose a center and 2 other points and it'll create or you click 3 points and it'll create a circle for you. You can also create an ellipse, which is an unusual circle. Moving on, there's a 3-point arc. This is very similar to the circle, except you only create part of the circle. With the 3-point arc, it's similar to the 3-point circle. And there's also the tangent arc, center point arc, elliptical arc, and also conics, which is where you can create a parabola or other shapes. Moving on, there's the spline tool. Here you can create your own oblong geometry and create custom shapes. Moving on, there's also the points. Here you can create points and
which can be used for lines, curves, and other aspects. And those are the most important shapes to be covered. Now, once you've created a part, like let's say a circle, what can you do with it? First of all, you don't even know what size the circle is. It could be the same size as an entire sea channel or the size of the head of your screw. So to fix that, you can use the dimension tool. The dimension tool is over here on the toolbar, and the shortcut for it is D. If you click on the dimension tool, you can add in the diameter of a circle, the radius of an arc, or the side length of a rectangle, or the angles. Moving on, along with all these tools, there are also tools called constraints. Constraints are tools that define the relationships between different elements in a sketch, making the shapes more precise and predictable. In this video, we will be covering 9 constraints. The first constraint we will be covering is the coincident constraint. Let's say we have 2 lines. If we want these 2 points and the midpoints of the line to intersect, we would use the coincident tool. The coincident tool allows different points to intersect and come together. If we click on the coincident tool and then click on these 2 points, the 2 points will now overlap. Moving on, I'll be showing you the concentric tool. The concentric tool makes it that 2 different objects, generally you'd use this for circles, will have their center points intersect. An example of this would be if I had one larger circle and another smaller one, and then I use the concentric tool, which is Shift O, and if I click on the 2 circles, their center points will overlap. Now moving on, I'll be showing you how to use the parallel tool. As its name states, the parallel tool makes it so that 2 lines will become parallel. If I have 2 lines over here, and I now click on the parallel tool, the 2 lines will become parallel to one another. So even if we move one, they will stay parallel. Moving on, I'll be showing you the tangent tool. If we have a circle and a line, the tangent tool will make it so that the line only intersects the circle in one point. And at this point, it will be perpendicular to the radius of the circle. If I click on the tangent tool here and click on these 2, you can see that it's perpendicular to the radius, and also it only intersects at one point. Moving on, I'll be now showing you the horizontal and vertical constraints. So with the horizontal and vertical constraints, it can be used to make a line horizontal. If I click on this or click H, it'll become horizontal. And if I click on this or click V, this will become vertical. Another use case for this tool is if I have 2 points, I can use these tools to make it so that they're horizontal of one another. Or I could use a vertical to make sure they're vertical to another, as so. I'll be showing you the perpendicular tool. If I have two lines, the perpendicular tool will make it so that these two lines will now have perpendicular slopes. If I click on this tool, click on this, the two lines will now become perpendicular. And if we move them closer together, you can see this more apparently. The next tool we'll be covering is the equal tool. The equal tool can be used for multiple different shapes. In a rectangle, the equal tool can be used to make the different sides of the rectangle equal. You can click on this tool or click E, and then click on the two sides and they'll become equal. Another way to use this tool is if you have different shapes, let's say two different circles, and you use the equal tool, now the sizes of the two will be the same. The last constraint I'll be showing is the midpoint constraint. Here, if you have a line and a point and use the midpoint tool, it will bring this point to the middle of the line. So let's do this. And you'll see that now both sides of the midpoint are equal. Moving on, I'll now be showing you how to make a 2D sketch into a 3D part. First, let's create an example sketch. I'm going to create a corner rectangle with 4 circles inside. And once I'm done, I'll click check. Now there are many ways to make this 2D part 3D, but one of the most common, especially in robotics, is the extrude tool, which is over here. You can also access this tool by clicking Shift D on the keyboard. Once you click on the tool, you arrive at this pop-up. The extrude tool has 3 settings: solid, surface, and thin. In this video, I'll be focusing on the solid. Within the solid, there's also 4 sections: new, add, remove, and intersect. The new tool creates a new part from a sketch that you're using, while the add tool creates a part and adds it to an existing part. We can't use the add tool right now because we don't have an existing part. The remove tool removes a certain amount from a part that's already created, while the intersect tool adds and removes material from a part to make it like it only gives the intersection between two parts. Right now, I'm going to use the new tool. Now, I'll click on the faces that I want to use. In this case, it'll be this. Now I need to choose the depth. Over here, there's many different end types, and here you can change the direction to decide if you want it to go up like this or the other way. The different end types are blind, where you're given a specific distance you want to travel and extrude it. Up to next. Over here, up to next goes up to the next vertex or surface, while up to face goes up to the next face. Up to part makes it extrude all the way to a certain part of your choosing. Up to vertex makes it extrude all the way until it reaches a certain vertex. And through all makes it so that it goes continuously extrudes without an end. For now, I'll be using blind. Now you can put in the depth you want it, which is the thickness of the block. Let's say I want 5 inches. You'll see that this side becomes 5 inches tall. Down here, you can see there are some more settings. The direction button over here allows you to click on a line to choose the direction that you wanted to go in. And over here, The starting offset makes it like it doesn't start right away from the sketch and extrude, but rather you can make it start 2 inches off. And you can see there's a 2 inch gap over here. Over here, there are also the same settings, blind and entity. The blind command is as we saw earlier, and the entity command makes it so that it starts offsetted by a certain entity. For example, if there was a mate connector, it would start from above that mate connector. There's also a symmetric button, making it so that it extrudes the same amount on both sides and is a total of whatever depth you gave. And finally, there's the draft button. The draft button makes it so that it becomes a little slanted inwards or outwards when you're creating your part. And you can also choose the degree of that draft over here. And that's it for how to extrude a part. Now I'll be showing you how to use this part that you've made in an assembly. First, let's go to the drivetrain assembly. Similar to how you would add in a sub-assembly, you can now click Insert, and then in Part Studios, this will appear. Click on the part, click Check. Now you'll see that the part you made will appear in the assembly. And that's it for this video. Congratulations for making it this far. Now it's your turn. Practice using the different Part Studio concepts that you've learned in this video to create a ramp part with the correct measurements that I'll be giving. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to comment it down below.